Tonight on ELN, do you know what the North Carolina General Assembly is up to?
We'll tell you what some lawmakers are trying to pass.
I'm Eric Halpern. It's beautiful outside right now, but is the weather going to stay like this? I'll have your forecast later in the show.
Think about this. What is Justin Timberlake known for, and what does it have in common with a wind instrument?
We'll explain later in the show. We are live on Channel 5 right now.
You're watching ELN Local News.
Thanks for joining us. I'm Brian Mazurski.
And I'm Katie Marighi. We begin tonight with big news from across the globe. Former Prime Minister of Great Britain, Margaret Thatcher, died this morning of a stroke. And Thatcher has a special ELN connection you might not know about. Our Jeff Ackerman is in London with the story.
The flag here at 10 Downing Street is set at half-staff to remember the United Kingdom's first and only woman Prime Minister, Margaret Thatcher. She died earlier this morning following a stroke. Thatcher served 11 years as Prime Minister, getting the nickname Iron Lady for her personal and political conviction. The UK's current Prime Minister, David Cameron, expressed his sorrow on Twitter, stating, "We lost a great leader, a great Prime Minister, and a great Britain. Many say she made a great impact on the UK's political history."
I think she's the ultimate feminist icon. She didn't have an all-female shortlist getting her there. She was just as good as any man, and she proved it.
Values that she respected, so whether you agreed with her or not, she was determined as a person to actually put those through to the very end.
It's sad. She was a very iconic figure, whether you liked her or you hated her.
The funeral is set to take place at St. Paul's Cathedral. Both David Cameron and Queen Elizabeth II will be there. And now one thing that's actually quite interesting to point out is that Margaret Thatcher actually came to ELN University back in 1995 when it was called ELN College. She spoke at an honors convocation and also dedicated the Moseley Center, Corey Center, and Center for the Arts to the university. We'll be sure to bring you updates on this story live from London as it develops. But for now, on 10 Downing Street, Jeff Ackerman, ELN Local News.
Margaret Thatcher also made the list. The Iron Lady was named one of the top women that North Carolinians admire, according to the most recent ELN poll. Other women named were former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton, First Lady Michelle Obama, and former Secretary of State Condoleezza Rice.
And now to look at politics on this side of the pond. It was a busy week in the North Carolina legislature with our state making national headlines.
You are looking at several of the different bills introduced this week. We'll walk you through them and tell you what they mean for you as an ELN student.
And later, our Brendan McGovern is joined by two politically involved students to discuss what North Carolina's government is up to. If you're a North Carolina resident, listen up. The North Carolina Senate is debating a bill this week that affects how you can vote. The bill says students that register to vote with their college addresses cannot be put as dependents on their parents' tax returns if that address is in a different district. Registering with a college address could mean parents are paying more taxes. Sponsor of the bill, Republican Senator Bill Cook, said the bill protects the integrity of North Carolina's electoral process.
And now a bill that affects us journalists at ELN Local News as well as other students at private campuses in North Carolina. It's called House Bill 142, and it makes campus public records from the police public. After passing unanimously in the House, the bill's sponsor, Republican Stephen Ross, told us that he expects it to pass in the Senate. We asked the representative what his resolution means for ELN and other private universities in the state.
It's just going to kind of spread it out and level the playing field to the 16 private colleges and universities that fall under the guidelines. Because if they're going to have a police agency that is equivalent to what we have at, say, UNCG or NC State, then they're going to be subject to the same scrutiny and requirements that those police agencies fall under.
It's something that might not affect you now, but it could in the future. Marriage, but to be more specific, divorce. Members of the North Carolina Senate introduced the Healthy Marriage Act this week in an attempt to lower divorce rates. The bill would require couples to be separated for at least 2 years before divorce is granted. Couples would also have to attend classes on communication, conflict resolution, and divorce's effect on children. The bill's supporters say divorce costs taxpayers money and hurts children, but critics say this will extend an already long, difficult, and emotional process.
President Obama visited Connecticut today to fight for gun control. It's been 4 months since the shooting that killed 26 students and teachers in Newtown, and many Americans are frustrated by the lack of action on gun control in the Senate. The ELN poll found 93% of North Carolina voters want mandatory background checks for gun buyers. However, North Carolina Senator Kay Hagan has not voiced any opinion on gun control measures. Hagan is expected to face a tough 2014 re-election and has already been targeted by National Rifle Association advertising.
State Republicans are looking to take Senator Hagan's place in 2014. According to a High Point poll, Hagan's job approval rating sits at a cool 38%. But a recent public policy poll gives Hagan a lead against potential GOP opponents. Potential candidates include Labor Commissioner Sherry Berry, Congresswoman Virginia Foxx, Congresswoman Renee Elmers, and Speaker of the North Carolina House, Tom Tills. Now let's turn to political correspondent Brendan McGovern, who is joined in the studio by two politics experts, Darian Flowers and John Crowder, to discuss these issues. Brendan?
Thanks, Katie, and thank you, Darian and John, for being here. Darian, you just finished your term as SGA Executive President. You're a college Republican, and you have worked on many campaigns, both in North Carolina and your home state of Ohio. And John Crowder, thank you for being here. You are a college Democrat. You represent the Arts and Sciences Department in the state Student Senate, excuse me. And let's start today with the college voters bill, because that's what affects students at ELN probably the most, especially those who live in North Carolina. Is this fair, or is it unfairly targeting college voters to make them register at their home address and not their student address? Darian?
No, Brennan. I think that this is absolutely a step in the right direction for North Carolina voters. Yet again, the General Assembly has taken the appropriate steps to ensure the integrity of votes. Not only do students live in college residencies that are temporary, the fact is that their parents, as listing them as dependents, receive tax incentives based on a local, state, and federal statutes that give them the incentives to be listed as dependents. Now, we're just trying to make sure that the voting registration process is equitable for all North Carolina voters.
John, why should students be allowed to vote from their student address?
Well, if we pass this law, it's going to make it a lot harder for students to vote. And in this sort of climate, we should not be making it harder for everybody to vote. We should be trying to expand opportunity to everybody. All right. If we look at the history of actual credible voter fraud, we only come up with 13 cases out of 767 million votes cast in general elections from 2000 to 2012.
Well, on a national level now, gun control has obviously been one of the biggest issues ever since the Newtown attacks. And since that time, over 3,000 people have been killed in the United States by guns. Does anything need to be done to fix this problem? And if so, what should be done both on the state and federal level?
Well, I think, Brennan, that one, obviously the massacre at Sandy Hook and in Newtown were a tragedy on a national level. And additionally, the deaths that we've seen since then are a national tragedy. But I think making sure that the fact is that while it may be cliche, that the fact is that it's the people behind those tools that they're using to kill those unfortunate school children, but also folks across the cities in the U.S. And I think that now more and more.
Now 93% of North Carolinians do support background checks.
And background checks are things that we already have an existing law. And so I think members of my party and in both the House and the Senate are more advocates of improving existing statutes than reinventing the wheel with additional.
John, do you think background checks should be expanded or any gun control measures should be expanded?
I do think background checks should be expanded. I'm not sure if I agree with the assault rifles thing. However, I think we should increase the amount of gunfire locators so that we can hear the sounds of the bullets and identify what gun they are.
All right. Well, thank you very much, both of you, for being here with us today to discuss these issues, shedding some light. And thank you for joining us. Back to you, Brian.
Thank you.
Coming up, it's a story you'll want to share. One ELN student showed us her talent that leaves her literally breathless.
Look at this sunshine. Is it here to stay? Your 5-day forecast coming up later in the show.
You may have seen it online, that link people are sharing saying ELN was once again named the most beautiful college campus in the United States. Well, it might be fake. According to ELN professor Megan Squire, the bestcolleges.org blog is nothing more than a for-profit website. In a blog post, Squire says that every time someone clicks on a link, they are sent to another website which pays up to $40 per click. Other lists on the website include top 10 best online MBAs under $50,000 and top 10 online video game design degree programs.
Elon might not have been ranked the most beautiful campus, but one part of the state is making national headlines.
That's right, you might want to consider Raleigh and Durham as a place to live after graduation. The Huffington Post ranks these cities in their top 10 best places for young adults to live in their 20s. Other cities on the list include Austin, Washington, D.C., and Boston.
He was once a journalist in Greensboro, and now he's calling Elon his home. Our Lauren Cook introduces you to Elon's new social media director.
Elon University posts photos, videos, and tweets each day. But who is the man behind the accounts?
Professionally, I was just ready for a new challenge. I had been a television reporter for 6.5 years, had a fantastic time doing it, but social media really became a passion of mine. I got on the Twitter bandwagon back in 2009, and it just became a daily part of my reporting routine.
Philip Jones, the university's new social media manager, has only been on campus a week.
Get acclimated, learn campus. I'm still figuring out my way around.
Jones's daily responsibilities include monitoring Elon's Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Vine, LinkedIn, and other online accounts, and going to events on campus.
I'm tasked with creating content for those different media, distributing that content, finding unique and interesting things going on around campus to showcase.
Jones's job also requires a fair bit of creativity to keep students engaged while online.
Gathering content, it is disseminating that content, it's being creative, it's coming up with ways to capture attention, to keep attention, and to send a message.
As social media manager, Jones looks to reach further than just Elon's campus.
And our goal is not only to engage students, but to engage alumni, to engage parents, to engage prospective students and parents.
Lauren Cook, Elon Local News.
Phil Jones found a job at Elon, and you can too.
Here are some recent job postings from Elon's Job Network. The Multicultural Center is looking to hire 6 student program coordinators to organize events on campus. The Office of Sustainability is looking for sustainability and communications interns along with student coordinators. Campus Technology is looking for a lot of help next fall with 10 openings for help desk assistants who can troubleshoot with and work with equipment.
If you're looking to get up and close to the sports action, Elon Athletics is hiring 2 or 3 student equipment managers for specific teams. And finally, Mosley Center needs 12 students to work as facility assistants. For more information on these jobs, visit the Elon Jobs Network.
It's a performance this Elon student's professor couldn't help her with. We'll show you an Elon student's unique talent later in the show.
Good evening, everyone. I'm live in downtown Elon with your 5-day forecast after the break. And yes, it is a happy one because Mother Nature has been treating us nicely. The weekend was beautiful with temps up in the 60s and 70s, and that warm weather has carried over into the week. Take a look behind me at downtown Elon. It's a gorgeous spring day here, and the weather has certainly seemed to make everyone's Monday less mundane. It was a sunny one today, and temperature got all the way up to 79 degrees. Are the high temperatures here to stay? Is spring finally here for good at Elon? The Phoenix 5-day forecast would say so. Let's take a look. Yes, folks, those are 80s you see there. Expect temperatures to get up into the low 80s for the next 3 days. However, do be mindful of the low temperatures for the morning. If you have morning classes, you may want to wear layers as it could be around 50 degrees. For now, enjoy the shorts and t-shirt weather. Spend a lot of time outside, and if you can focus and do homework outside, do that while you can, because Friday, while still in the 70s, may come with some thunderstorms. Katie and Brian, I don't know what the temperature is in the studio, but I am loving the weather out here. I'm Eric Halpern, live in downtown Elon. That's the weather report. Back to you guys in the studio.
As the weather gets nicer, you might notice more tours around campus. Our Christine Williams has that story.
The botanical gardens and fountains may be staples of springtime for most people at Elon University, but April is not all flowers and sunshine for some. For tour guides, their duties are just heating up.
We really plan our year around the spring and we'll plan it a year in advance. So a year out, we have an idea of when each school's spring break is, so we can gauge how many tours we'll need to offer.
Spring is the busiest time for tours, with about 80 being given per day. Not only are high school juniors beginning their college hunt, but seniors who have been accepted are coming to help finalize their decisions.
We all felt it was important to come back again and see the campus live in action with all the students, to really picture himself here.
Tour guides aren't the only ones who see their workloads increase. This is also one of the busiest times of year for the admissions office. Fellows Weekend, Orientation Weekend, final application deadline, and Junior Scholars announcements fall within the months of March and April. And the admissions office is involved with all of them.
Having all of those within a 10-day period makes you kind of crazy.
But for all of the craziness, these staff members do see the gratifications of their hard work.
There are some definite warm, fuzzy type rewards of just knowing that you made a difference to that one person.
All these months, I see email, I hear voices on the phone, but then when they actually come to campus and you get that big hug from the student,
it all becomes worth it. Christine Williams, ELN Local News.
The weather this past weekend was perfect for a run. Students lined up at the intramural fields on Saturday for the second ever Color Run, sponsored by ELN-thon. Students and members of the community were able to buy t-shirts to participate in the 1.7-mile race while getting paint thrown at them.
And another way students got active outside last week was at a scavenger hunt for a good cause. The month of April is Autism Awareness Month, and Alpha Xi Delta sorority held their Z Marks the Spot scavenger hunt to raise money for Autism Speaks, an organization that funds autism research. Teams raced against the clock to gather clues and complete a puzzle. Winners received $100 to the charity of their choice. The scavenger hunt raised $2,200.
In the United States, 1 in 6 children are diagnosed with a developmental disability like autism, according to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. Some families struggle with providing around-the-clock care for children with a disability, but the ELN community is trying to help.
What's your favorite color?
Green.
Coloring, kickball, and dancing are all part of a program known as Special Fridays at the ELN Community Church. It's the place where children with developmental disabilities in Alamance County come to have fun and learn together on the first Friday of each month during the school year. ELN sophomore Grace Tricoli volunteers for nothing more than one basic reason.
That's where my passion lies, so that's why I do it.
1, 2, 3.
Parents say they look forward to bringing their children to the program since there are typically not a lot of options available for older children with disabilities.
It's just a relief knowing that he has some place to go that's safe, that he enjoys, and that's good and stimulating for him.
I get the satisfaction of knowing that he is taken care of, he's in a safe environment, and it gives me a few minutes to myself.
Through the crafts and bouncing balls, Grace Truckley says programs like Special Fridays teach an invaluable lesson about those with developmental disabilities.
You'll see that they're really people just like you and have interests just like you as well.
Tricoli says the connection of people without disabilities and those with disabilities is a great opportunity.
It's important to kind of have the experience working with people with autism and other disabilities so that when you interact with them in the local community, you're not maybe surprised by behavior or you're not thrown off on what to do.
Nice, right?
And as Tricoli does with Austin, program organizers hope everyone feels special on this Friday night and has a happier day.
It's the story you've been waiting for. We found her performing at Newman Lumen, and after the break, we'll show you her unique performance.
I'm Jamie Daffner, and after the break, find out how ELN performed in sports this past weekend. We begin tonight with a sport we don't usually cover, Ultimate Frisbee. You might not hear about it often, but Ultimate Frisbee is played for the spirit of the game. Our Sky Cowens has more.
The Elon Women's Ultimate Frisbee team hosted their third annual Nutty Huck tournament this past weekend. 7 teams from the area participated, including an Elon alumni team. Alex Ziegler, a 2008 graduate, said the best part of the weekend was seeing how much the program has grown since she was at Elon.
My freshman year was the first year there was even a girls team, and so it's just grown exponentially, and it's really, really nice to see like what they've done with the program.
But things got competitive as Elon faced off against their old friends and mentors. Coach Brian Dobbins pumped up the girls for the alumni game.
You will find things that as you go through the game that you can take advantage of. It's simply a matter of taking advantage of it. The choice is yours.
While this tournament gives teams an opportunity to show off their hard work and competitiveness, the ultimate goal is to have fun.
We try to make it very fun, very lighthearted. A lot of what Ultimate is like spirit of the games, and so we like call our own fouls and everything.
Another tradition of the tournament is for teams to sing to one another after each match. Elon parents who came out to watch the tournament enjoy this kind of fun and support among their daughters.
I think all the parents enjoy watching a whole group of women support each other.
With singing, dancing, and playing for the love of the game, the Nutty Huck tournament promoted friendship and competition, gave parents a chance to watch their daughters play, and allowed for a homecoming for Elon alumni. Sky Cowens, Elon Local News.
Finished in 5th place in the tournament, the Virginia Tech Hokies won it all. During the 2011 season, the men's baseball team amassed 36 wins on its way to its 4th conference title. Last year, the team's 33 wins weren't quite enough, falling short of the SoCon crowd and the NCAA regional appearance that comes with it. This year, manager Mike Kennedy's squad looks to get back to that promised land, and with 20 wins and a game-and-a-half cushion on first place, it just might be possible. Elon took on crosstown rival High Point this week in an offensive slugfest. Let's get to the game. David Whitehead was on the bump for the Phoenix on Tuesday, but the tail of the tape was told with the bats in this one. Bottom of the second, no score. Sebastian Gomez ropes one in the left center field, which will score Antonio Alvarez to put Elon up 1-0. Gomez is having a great campaign so far. We go to the bottom of the third, and Alex Swim says, hey, if some is good, then more is better. The senior catcher laces a double of his own to make it a 2-0 lead. This one would get blown open, though, later in the third when cleanup hitter Ryan Kinsella absolutely crushes the baseball out of Latham Park. That would be the reigning SoCon Player of the Week's 11th home run and 43rd RBI. Get this, he has only 42 hits on the season. Crazy good stuff from Kinsella. The Phoenix would go on to win the shootout by a final of 16-7. The men's tennis team took on High Point this week and did well. And that's all we have for sports this week. Tomorrow, Elon Baseball takes on the #1 team in the country, UNC, at 6:30 in Latham Park. Be sure to get there early. The game is expected to be a sellout. For updates from that game and more, you can follow our Twitter at ELN Sports.
And now, the story we've been telling you about all show.
One Elon student is taking campus by storm with her musical talent. Steve Roth found out more about the girl whose students are talking about.
I am a double major in music education and music performance.
Elon Jr. Michelle Warsheny keeps herself busy in and out of the classroom. She does marching band, orchestra, jazz ensemble, ballroom dancing, and more. But it was what she saw a few years ago that got her interested in her most recent musical talent.
In high school, I watched a video on YouTube, the beatboxing flute guy, Greg Patillo. I thought, this is the coolest thing ever.
Last summer, Warsheny decided she too would try to combine the skills for her junior recital, a required musical performance for both of her majors.
I talked to my flute professor and she said that I could do it as long as I learned most of it on my own because she had no experience beatboxing and playing flute simultaneously.
Warsheny got started right away, and when the junior recital came around, she was ready to show off what she had learned. When Warsheny's recital came to a close, the entire crowd realized how special it was. Steve Roth, Elon Local News.
Now, I assure you, neither of us can do that.
Absolutely. It would take a lot of practice to get where Michelle is with her talents.
It's true.
Absolutely. But thank you so much for joining us for this Elon Local News. That's all we have for this week. Make sure to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Check us out online at elonlocalnews.com. Have a great week, Elon.